What is going on, guys? Inside New York Sports Podcast here, and today we're talking about the New York Rangers and that Artemi Panarin is now being out of the lineup due to roster management transactions, and that basically means the New York Rangers and Artemi Panarin will be discussing a trade and sending him somewhere. It's obviously sad, everything Artemi Panarin has done for this team has been remarkable, man. I think the best memory we probably do have that always sits in the Rangers' mind is the Game 7 overtime winner he had against Pittsburgh. A lot of great memories with Artemi Panarin. Like, you can't really say anything bad. I mean, you signed him in 2019 to, I guess, accelerate the rebuild and hope to be a playoff contender, right? You got to the playoffs. You got to the Eastern Conference Finals with Artemi Panarin, and he was phenomenal. Put up 100-plus points, and you get bald Panarin, who put up a ton of points as well. So, I mean, the production was always there with Artemi Panarin. It was just this season has gone completely off the rails, man. I mean, it started from once everybody started getting injured, right? Fox gets the long-term injury reserve. Igor Shesterkin is obviously still hurt. He has been on the ice by himself, but I don't expect him to be back anytime soon, which means you have Spencer Martin and Jonathan Quick splitting time, which is just not good, not a good tandem. But listen, the big thing is that you got to get a good package for Artemi Panarin, right? Panarin is a guy that could put up 100 points and probably still give you 80-plus points even when he plays into his late 30s, right? I think he is that good of a player. He is a guy that always stays in shape. It's very rare that you see Artemi Panarin on the IR. And now the Rangers have to nail this trade package. I mean, they're going to be asking for a lot. They're going to be asking for a top prospect. They're going to be asking for a first-round pick at least, and probably a little bit more. And especially if they decided to add Vincent Trocheck into the deal as well, you probably could get multiple first-round picks too, and you could have a chance at retooling, rebuilding this team, and actually hitting on your draft picks. Because the Rangers, that is what the biggest problem was, right? You look at a lot of the guys, if they actually nailed those picks and they picked the right guys at those spots, we're not having this conversation today. We're having the conversation that we're buying at the trade deadline and we're a team to be reckoned with and a top team in the Eastern Conference, but we were actually the complete opposite. Our season is over. They're not coming back. And there's just no scenario that I could see the Rangers piling up a ton of wins and making the wild card. They don't deserve it. And they're a team that all the bad moves, they finally got punched in the face, and that, you know what, you're not making the playoffs, especially when people had a ton of high expectations, including myself. I thought this team, was going to be able to turn it around, especially getting Mike Sullivan to their team, but nope, they're not good. And it's obviously interesting now to where do they go as a fan. It's hard to watch them every night. It's hard to go 0-3 against the New York Islanders, right? And with how the Islanders are moving too, it's unfortunate, right? The Rangers are older and they need younger players that have speed, and they don't have that, right? They don't have that, and that's what the problem is, right? And the big thing that I look at the Rangers now is, where do you truly go from here, right? Who actually gets dealt? Do you trade a guy like Braden Schneider? Do you trade Trocheck, right? Do you try and get Mika Zibanejad to waive his no-movement clause even though he said no, right? This team is going to be bad. They hired Mike Sullivan at the worst time, even though you can't predict that he all of a sudden becomes available and then this happens, right? So, I mean, you can't really blame that on Drury. But you can blame some of the stuff on Chris Drury, right? For sure. And now I look at the team and I see a lot of long-term contracts, right? Vladislav Gavrikov, 7x7. Igor Shesterkin in a new contract, too. So it's like, where do we go from here, guys? where do we truly go from here to make this team back in the playoffs as fast as possible? Because when Igor Shesterkin signed that contract and he saw that we hired Mike Sullivan, he probably expected playoffs, getting ready for Game 1 at Madison Square Garden or whoever they're playing. Nope. Now he's going to be watching from his couch, pissed off, annoyed that we didn't make the playoffs, and it's unfortunate because that is where we lie. You know, it's so unfortunate with how this team is. And trading Artemi Panarin is something I never wanted to see this organization do. But we're at a time where the team is. They're not winning. They're not going to win a championship this year. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Might as well get something out of Artemi Panarin, who has tremendous trade value. And especially the last few games, he's been playing some of his best hockey too. But now you look at the team, assuming Artemi Panarin is off the team. They elevated Brett Berard from Hartford, so you got to think a deal is done soon. And I bet people are probably asking, where do you think Artemi Panarin is going? I think there are actually, in my opinion, I do have three logical. One of them is kind of a hot take if they can get it all done correctly with the structure. But I have the Florida Panthers, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Washington Capitals as my top three that I could see Artemi Panarin there. You can honestly add the San Jose Sharks as well. Those four teams, Florida being the hot take, because I tell you what, if they land Artemi Panarin, that would be insane. You can maybe even add in Colorado as the fifth team as well, because they were even interested in Artemi Panarin in the 2019 free agency. The Rangers obviously ended up swooping in and getting him. But, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. Like I said, and I've probably said the word unfortunate about 1,000 times already, and it is. Like, we didn't want this to happen. We did not want this to happen at all. We saw that we got Mike Sullivan on the team, and we knew that, this is a team that, hey, if they get the right season out of Lafreniere, if they get a good season out of Adam Fox, Zibanejad, Panarin, Trocheck, all of those guys, that they heavily rely on JT Miller, who is a complete clown. Honestly, now that I mention JT Miller, he said at the start of the season that we're going to be a team that has that FU mentality. The only FU was to the fans. We're not making the playoffs. And it's so hard to talk about this team. I haven't talked about this team in a while because the only thing I can really say is just where does Artemi Panarin land? Where do the New York Rangers trade him? And you know what? If it was today, I would say he's a Washington Capital. Out of all the five teams I named, he would probably be a Washington Capital and destroy us for the next 5 years. But, yeah, that is all I got for you guys. Of course, kind of more of a shorter video if you say. But that is going to do it, obviously. Like, subscribe. We got to get better. We got to get on the road to 400 subscribers. And, of course, let's go Rangers. We'll see how the rest of the season ends. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.